Okay, I'll call the meeting to order and begin with the land acknowledgement statement. On Tuesday, March the 10th, 2026, we acknowledge that this sacred land on which Smiths Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in the making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smiths Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, being mindful of generations to come. So the first item on the agenda is welcome new committee member Brock Size.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Would you like to say a couple of words about yourself before we go ahead?
My name is Brock Size. I'm a red seal brick and stone mason. And that's really what drew me to this committee. I love architecture. I love our little gems that we have here in town that we pass by every day, and I like to keep them that way.
Great. Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. I think it's a fairly short agenda today. Would someone move that we approve it, please? Jenny, and a seconder, Klaus. Thank you. All in favor? Great. And the adoption of the minutes of the last meeting, which was on Tuesday, February 10th. Would someone move that we adopt those minutes, please? Dawn moves, and a seconder. Jonathan, all in favor? Thank you. Disclosure of monetary interest, anyone? No? All right, so we'll go ahead with priority issues. First item is Heritage Conservation District update, and I'll call on Marie to give us that.
Thank you, Chair. Just to let everyone know that the appeal deadline is on Friday, so we'll wait for that process to play out, and that's where we are at the moment with the HCD.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about the? No? Okay. Next item is the properties of interest list update. So what's happening with that? There are 11 properties on that list that we hope to be able to designate. The deadline for that is January of 2027. So we are working towards that. But importantly, we need to meet with the owners first. And a series of meetings are being set up. Two of them have already happened with the owners, so that we can explain designation, try to stress the advantages of having your property designated and answer any concerns or questions that the property owners may have. So two of those meetings with the owners have been held. The two properties in question, one of them is the oldest stone house in Smith Falls on Chambers Street. I think everybody knows which property that is. It's right across from Giant Tiger. And the other property, whose owners we met with, is one of the Frost Mansions on Chambers Street, the one that is closest to Highway 43. So those are the two. The owners of the Frost Mansion are not interested in having their property designated.
Oh.
Unfortunately, they were quite firm about that. When we asked them to explain, they said, well, we're going to take good care of it. Nothing is going to happen to it while we're alive. And most likely, they said their son would inherit the property, and they didn't see any need to have it designated. So that was somewhat disappointing result from that one. So we, as a committee, will have to decide, based on the information we have about the property and the fact that the owners don't want it designated, we're going to have to decide how to move forward with that, or whether we're going to, accept their reservations and not proceed. The other one, we met with the owners of the oldest stone house on Chambers Street. Now, they don't live there. They have bought it quite recently, I think within the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And they see it as an investment property. There are 2 apartments in the stone house itself, and then at the rear of the property, there is another building with 2 other apartments in it, but it's not connected to it. It's the second building has nothing to do with heritage, as far as we know. They had concerns along the lines of, well, what if we want to build an addition? And we explained to them that some additions would be okay, but some would not, and that it was going to be very important that the facade and the 2 sides of the building be preserved the way they are, including the door and window openings preserved the way they are. So it doesn't preclude, we told them it doesn't preclude putting an addition on the back that would not be seen from the street. And then they asked, well, what if we want to demolish it? And that was, yes. What if we want to, we said, well, we wouldn't let you.
Well,
If it was designated, you wouldn't be able to
this is the
demolish it.
thing.
So that was a bit of a red flag for us. And so we're concerned about that one. It's important to preserve that property, very important, for the heritage of our town. So those were the 2 meetings we had. They didn't really say, we don't want you to designate it. They just had these questions, but when they brought up the subject of demolition, we became alarmed. Jonathan?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the through line between both the feedback that we've received there, and I'm thinking about some of the feedback that we've received sort of over this process as I've been involved in the committee, the usual sorts of fears, and then trying to keep in mind what the ultimate goal is. And for me, the ultimate goal is, thinking about Smiths Falls over the last 50 and 75 years, as I can kind of structure the old looking Smiths Falls, and we can all probably rhyme off together. We could probably put together a good list of 15 buildings that no longer exist, and 14 of them were upset that they don't exist. Maybe one of them or so, we're okay that thing's gone. But usually we're not overly happy down the road when these historic buildings are gone. So that's the big goal, is to keep them there. And so the demolition thing is scary for sure, from the committee's perspective. And the same thing goes for the Frost mansions along the highway there. It'd be beautiful if the lot wasn't severed 20 or 30 years ago, and then another house plopped in front of the other.
It's not that one.
It's not that one, but that,
yes.
It's on the same block. It's that same type of thing.
It's in the same neighborhood.
Whether we're demolishing it, covering it up, putting paint on the brick, putting stucco on it, we're aiming not to do all these things. So there's a couple ways we can do that. You can make a law to make someone not do it, make it illegal. But also relationships are sometimes underrated. And really what we're trying to do is get this education component of what's the Municipal Heritage Committee trying to do, what's a heritage designation supposed to do, what's the big idea about this designation thing. So for that reason, I'd like to maybe suggest that we always are looking at designations, and that's really important. But another way that we can show respect for a place is to making it notable in our town. They're on our historic walks. They're not provincially designated, but they're things that we notice. And I wonder if we develop that relationship with folks, that over time they might notice the appreciation we have is similar to their investment appreciation. And we're trying to grow that investment by, this is a notable property in town. That means nothing other than we just have an ongoing relationship, and we might be stopping by your place to tell about the history. And just that little bit of relationship might lead to something bigger down the road. But I think it might be worthwhile to explore that, because we're going to keep running into these folks that are terrified, but they're terrified because they care, and that means that we have something in common.
Class?
Just a question, Madam Chair. Is the one on Chambers Street, which is that block building that faces the street that I did, right, Murray? The building behind it, is it not part of it? Because I know Bill Dobson owned the building behind, and he always told me that was...
It's part of the property, yes.
It's part of the...
But it's not a heritage building
The one in
in
the
and of
back?
itself.
He always told me that was the oldest stone house in Smith Falls.
Yeah, right. It's the stone house itself that we are interested in designating, right?
There's another building at the back there.
Yes.
Glass, that white, the white structure.
Yeah.
That's not part of the oldest stone.
That's not part of it?
structure.
Okay.
It's part of that property, yes, but it's not an old, it's not a heritage.
If I may continue, he wants to add an addition to it. I question if he'd be able to have enough room to add any kind of addition to the back of that stone house. With the 8 square footage or whatever that he's got there, I don't think he'd have enough room there.
Well, they were hypothetical questions, really, that the owners were asking. What if we wanted to do this? What if we wanted to do that? Carl, did you want to?
Yeah, just to clarify for the committee is if the designation, if it were to happen, would apply to the property. So the legal description for the property, but it would list out the attributes that are protected. So I think the stone building would be protected, but let's say there's no heritage value with that 2-story rear building, then they would be very free to add to that, potentially demolish that. But I think that's one of the things, and Brock, one of the things that we're very clear with folks is that if there's a designation that's not so wide ranging that we're regulating paint color and regulating everything, we're identifying, and the legislation has required us to scope that out over the last couple of years to really scope out what's important, and those are those listed attributes. So if it is a part of the property that's not identified as significant, then there wouldn't be that same sort of protection, and the practical regulation would apply to, say, that original stone structure, but not an addition built in the 70s or whatever.
Okay, Chris would like to comment.
Yeah, I got a question off Claus's question. Is that building in the back? I don't know much about it. When we did the research, is it an old carriage house? Is it a new development?
I don't know what it was, Christopher. I just know the Bill Dobson owned it,
Okay.
and he kind of indicated it was the oldest stone house.
'Cause I guess if it's a converted carriage house, then it might have some associated value, and
That's
we'd
true.
want to look into it. If it's just a tear down, if it was just a new build in the 70s or something, then it'd be good to know. And I guess my takeaway from the meetings is we've got a big list and we've got a lot of stuff to work on. I think what I'm seeing as the low-hanging fruit would be the investment properties, multi-unit residential and commercial properties that aren't in the HCD. And I think it's fair for 2 reasons. One is that the HCD sets the precedent that designating those properties individually doesn't hold them to any higher standard than the bulk of the buildings in downtown are being held to. And 2 is that the investment properties in the multi-unit residential, we've seen a lot higher instance of deterioration of the heritage attributes, deterioration of masonry treatments. We've seen apartments put into them that aren't necessarily up to code, and I think those are the highest risk of the buildings deteriorating. And also I think it's a different, to go into somebody's home and to put rules on them is one thing that they're living in. But if you bought this as an investment property and you're not looking to maintain it, or you want to tear it down, and it's an important part of our community's fabric, then that's when we should be using this tool to protect the building.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, not to say that, the residential conversation is going to have to come up again, but right now we've got a fair number of investment properties and multi-unit residential. So maybe if we could get those through. And
Jonathan, were you?
No, I'm in agreement with what Chris is saying.
Klaus?
Just a comment, mate, when I was doing that particular property, I discovered that part of that building was used as an exchange thing for the Frost and Woods property. And if you're looking at the building, staying on the sidewalk, the window to the left was where they entered into for the exchange of products for the Frost and Woods. So I think it's really important that we do designate that. It has a lot more. Yeah, right there. That's where they brought their stuff, their supplies in, and fruits and vegetables in exchange for whatever.
Yeah, not only is it the oldest stone house, but it's the connection with Frost and Wood
That's
as well.
correct. That's a huge connection with Frost and Woods.
Yes.
Which would be a wonderful stop on a heritage walk to get that house, and then a pedestal, like maybe where the foundation is, like where we know that is over top of under Giant Tiger.
Now, if I might continue, as far as the building on Highway 43, which was the Frost and Woods, they don't want us to designate that.
No, it's a private home, single family residence, and
It's the one that they had the tower on. They took the tower down years ago.
No, it's on Chambers Street, but it's on
Center Street and Chambers.
okay.
It faces Chambers Street.
It's on Chambers Street.
Is that one, right?
I got one of my glasses on, buddy. Sorry.
Yes, it's that one. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those two.
Yes.
It's that one.
Yes.
Morning.
Well, we don't want to.
Do you know who owns it?
Yes, but we don't want to.
Can't mention it. Sorry, I almost
don't-
did. I stopped just in time because I know who owns it. I know the whole story behind that house.
We do know, but we're
I've been in it many times. If we just go ahead and designate it for our purpose,
Well, we can't do that.
we can't just go ahead and do it.
Council has to.
Shoot.
Shoot.
I'm
Council.
amazed because those two homes are significant tourist attractions for us.
Well, that doesn't.
Huge.
But that doesn't mean that the owners therefore would want us to designate it, does it? I mean, it's not. Anyway, Dawn, did you want to comment?
Just because I think about things I know differently. So the structure is very important. So, okay, if they say maybe we're going to tear it down, don't panic. Just switch that around and start talking to them like, well, yes, we understand, and there could be that. But you know what? If you keep it and we get it designated, we're going to promote this as a nice piece of history in the town of Smithville. Try to sell it to them that they're gaining, not losing.
So
You know what I mean? To be gentle.
Well, and what I'm getting at, and it's sort of like that, Don, and in a very authentic way. Even if there's all these residences that we don't deem that are a different type of risk, like risk that Chris described, over the next couple of years, it's making a concerted effort to help these folks, to promote their places that we do usually go to, and authentically, properly build a relationship, see how we can help those folks, what resources we can give, and properly help so that's right, that there does seem to be some trust and something in the relationship that's worthwhile.
And then they feel as if they're gaining, not losing.
Yeah,
Yes.
properly.
One of the houses has apartments in it. Is that the one we're talking about?
No.
No.
We've only met with 2 property. The others, there are meetings pending, but we have only consulted with 2. Okay, so. Yeah.
So I guess for the sake of tonight's discussion, if everybody's in agreement that the investment properties, multi-unit residential, like if that's the commercial properties are the ones we want to target first, then that And if we've got property owners that are enthusiastic for it, because another big pro now with the CIP funding is they can access up to $10,000 for exterior renovations. So if everybody's on the same page about that, then I think that's a good place to keep focusing on in the near future. And we can see, hopefully we can check, 5 or 6 of these off and postpone some of the harder conversations for
Well,
maybe,
yes.
We'll put some work in too ahead of it, because obviously going in cold, people run away.
Mhm.
So we need to do some work.
yeah.
Well, we fully intend to meet with all of them if they agree to meet with us. There was one who said that they had no interest in meeting and didn't want it designated, and so we won't be having a meeting with that particular property owner. But yes, so is the committee in agreement with what Chris is saying about dealing with the at-risk properties?
Can we get maybe an email out or maybe a little draft of that or something to that effect, and we can all just come to consensus on what that is? Maybe you can assume those, Marie, and then.
Sorry, what are we asking?
So out of the handful that
Yes.
we have to designate by January, can we identify which of those are highest risk per Chris's criteria that he's been describing?
That's risk of me not wanting it, doesn't it?
Well, just
No.
we're making a game plan for what we're going to work with in the time period that we've got such negative feedback off the hop.
Highest risk because they're investment properties or multi-unit residential.
Yeah.
Not because. Yeah. Yes.
And maybe an easier way to look at it is anything that's other than a single family home that has the owner living in it.
Right.
Because, you know what I mean, there's a million ways to define stuff, but I think that's the one thing, if they own the home, they're living in the home and they're really against it.
Yeah.
It's a harder sell.
Well, yes, of course, and it would alienate anyway. It would not
Yeah.
serve us well.
Yeah.
Jenny?
Just a refresher, is it 5 or 10 years that they go off the list?
5.
5, okay, thank you.
Carl?
So just to confirm the committee's direction, what I'm hearing is that we're still going to proceed with each of those meetings. All of those properties we've identified, we still proceed. If if somebody is objecting to a designation, then and in those situations, that's where the committee's identifying, scoping out, I think, the properties you'd really like to proceed. So Brock, just to confirm, with the designation, committee makes a recommendation to council. Council does not need to have the property owner's consent to designate. Council can designate against the property owner's will. Typically, we've been working over the years, we've been working very hard to get the consent and work through those relationships and approve with the agreement of the property owner, but we don't have to, and council hasn't been asked to designate a property against somebody's will. If we do designate against somebody's will, then they have the ability to appeal that, in which case then we look at the merits of, does this meet the criteria set forward in the Heritage Act? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. I hate to go that route, but
Well, I feel it's as John was saying, it's important to develop these relationships, and everybody's worried that we're gonna take control and you're gonna make us do things and you're gonna make us spend money we don't want to, and if you've got to sell it, as Don said, and there's different language, I guess, you can move forward with these people, as in, the restoration and the conservation and the rehabilitation, sort of. Those are 3 different avenues that you can go at things, and we're not looking to control anything to an extent, and we just don't want D5 white siding on the oldest stone building in town is kind of what we're looking at, but we're willing to, look at listen to what you have to say and, work with people.
Marie?
Just for clarification, the committee has made a good start on relationship building starting last year and in previous years with these property owners. Some of the properties have changed hands, so we're starting with the new owners. But we've been talking to our current property owners since spring of last year. So we've had a few points of contact. So through phone call and letter, just letting them know when we started the filling out our criteria checklist for each of the properties. And then again, they were all invited to the Heritage Symposium. So there was correspondence back and forth there. And then again, in January and February, we've started touching base with all of them again, just to see what concerns they may have. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.
And how many of them came to the symposium?
None.
So it's good to invite, but it doesn't matter though. We've got to do things that work.
Carl?
And to build on what Marie was stating, these meetings that we're having here, we're not obligated to have them. We're having them because it's good practice. It gives an opportunity to have sort of a more informal conversation with somebody. They can, in a small group setting, I think they're a little bit more comfortable telling us these are what our concerns are. These are maybe ideas we have about the property. And I think the intent of those is to, I guess, establish that level of comfort as best we can, so that when we do start going into the notification process as required by the Act, that's not when they're first hearing from us. We're having those conversations beforehand and trying to, as best as possible, work with folks.
Dawn?
Trying to keep everybody calm. Because the first thing that people think of is, oh, here they come and they're going to tell me what I can do.
Yeah.
So it's to work with them so that they understand we're just here to offer information and to guide and to help and keep people calm.
They do a unique thing at Christmas time in the windows.
They
You've
need
seen the one house. There's a candle in every window.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so we can move on?
Yeah.
We don't need to do anything else at this point in time, right?
Sorry, just for clarification. So we're going to focus on those properties that are multi-residential commercial
Yes.
on our current properties of
Yes.
interest list of 11 properties.
Right.
Okay.
So I think we still have all of the meetings.
But if
push comes to shove, those are the ones we
want.
Okay.
Chris?
And maybe can we also say we'll keep moving forward with designation, whether it's preparing our documents or for those identified properties? Because I think we've got this deadline of January, but if we try to do them all at the same time, we had a lot of problems when we tried to rewrite all our bylaws at the same time, where we just didn't have the ability to really go through them in the detail that they needed. So I'm hoping that this can be more of a, if by May or June we could bring one or two forward, and then by July, August, maybe there's one or two to bring forward instead of it being like a 5 or 6 in November. And I don't think this affects us, but if the lame duck period affects us, then August 21st could be our deadline, but it doesn't have a financial implication, so I don't think it should be. It'd just be good to know if it's the August deadline or if we can keep working till the end of this term of council.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead then with the next item, which is Downtown Core Design Guidelines Update, and that's you, Marie.
Going to extend the deadline for one more week for you to present us with comments on the revised Downtown Core Design Guidelines that was circulated. Brock, I have circulated those to you as well. So if you could have comments to me on or before next Tuesday, which is the 17th, that would be lovely. We do have comments out of the minutes from the last meeting that I know Richard Grant, who is working on updating this document, is taking into consideration. But if you have something more formal than that, we'd appreciate receiving that. I would suggest that if you're sending something in, you CC the whole committee so the whole committee knows what it is you're submitting for comment.
Okay, any questions about that or? No? Okay, project updates then. The RFQ for the Heritage Pedestal Tops.
That will also be quick. So just looking at tidying up that proposal, I just updated it to include a request for what sort of guarantee the manufacturers or the proponents can offer to prevent scratching, vandalism, deterioration through sun exposure, whatever, to that proposal, and then we hope to get that out by the end of the month. We'll look at replacing 4 this year.
Have we picked the 4?
Well, it'll be the 3 that were at the top of the list and that have had the tops removed.
Okay.
And then I'm just working off of the most recent status list, and then I'll just pick the next worst one. Unless you guys have a preference.
Can you? Which,
I don't know off the top of my head, sorry. So
the Station Theatres.
that was removed, Heritage House Museum was removed, and I think Bascule Bridge.
That's right.
I think it was that one.
I
Okay.
think there's one on Riverdale's removed.
Was it?
I think so.
Maybe Riverdale, Carl thinks. Anyway, whatever the 3 worst were.
Jenny?
Did the Market Street one get put back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are we looking at any point to create more of them, I wonder? I mean, we've talked about that before. Jonathan brought it up in this meeting, having one for
Well, it just sort of,
Boston Wood.
well, it kind of reflects the pathways that we walk and the ways that this committee is active. And so we can serve the community well by serving ourselves and doing things that are sensible. It's good to have them all over town,
Yeah,
but where are the ones that, like, what are our priority? Yeah.
I guess we better replace the broken ones first though, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the, sorry through you, Chair,
Yeah.
in the request for quote, we are asking them to quote on putting in new ones as well. So it's not just the replacement of the tops, but it's installing new ones.
Okay.
Actually, this might be a massive can of worms, but so that we can work together while the town is doing all of its giant planning on walking paths and all of this sort of thing. Is this the sort of thing that has some synergy with that sort of thing? Like, if there's paths all the way through town, aren't the pedestals usually on, like, other than the ones that are on the roads in the downtown and such like that, then the rest are on a bunch of paths. So
Mhm.
just as a big project's coming up and as we're starting to do a whole bunch of stuff, I wonder if those things have synergy with one another.
Yeah, like, yes, for example, the new pedestals that we would like to have at either end of Beckwith Street, where you're entering the conservation district.
Would be different from the ones on walking
Yes.
paths, like on Lower Reach though. But when they go ahead to do that plan on Lower Reach, hopefully we don't put a pedestal in and then they rip it up the next year to put in a wider walking path so it's accessible and we use the funding.
Good point.
You got your eye on that?
No, I think that makes sense. Ultimately, if there's an economy of scale for a big project, perhaps there's a way that can be integrated as a small piece of the bigger.
This is a really
project.
expensive project. Are these things that we're learning, right?
Mhm.
Which
Chris,
pedestals?
you want
Yeah, maybe just since we're replacing them, take a look at the English and the French. I don't know if we've got a resource for the French part, but and I don't know how the translation. You know, sometimes like, maybe it's really good, and maybe all the text is good. But if there was a time to update it, or if there's a typo, or just make sure we're not. Because I don't know. I've never got feedback on the French translations, but I've got feedback on other translations we've done before that wasn't the best.
They were rewritten when these pedestals were done, but that doesn't mean they're perfect. No.
Okay, so but they are like within 10 years.
Well, yeah, whenever we had these that replaced, because they had the old logo, didn't they? And so then we
Okay.
got the new ones with the new logo, and the translations were fixed. But I have no idea who did it at this point. I don't know.
I can check it out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe ask a different company to audit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dawn?
I'm just thinking, okay, so we have a pedestal, we only have so much room to put wording on there. Is there something that we could do rather than putting French on it, put something that they could scan for translation? That wouldn't take up much room? I don't know. It's just, you know, when you see things on Facebook and it says, push this button and it translates for you. Maybe, just a thought.
So, it's possible. We are looking at how to have QR codes attached onto these as well. We haven't come up with anything yet, so it could be done there. But that would mean that this current RFQ that we're looking at will be put on hold until we redesign it. Then
Is there a town policy regarding bilingual signage? Or?
Do we have to?
Yeah, that's what she's asking.
Yeah.
It may depend if the sign is, if the pedestal is going on federal property.
But if it's going on our town property,
Yeah.
do we have to?
Well,
staff can explore that.
I mean, they do have purposes for tourism, don't they? And Chris?
Yeah, I think the original one was to, because some of them were going on Parks Canada property, and
Yeah,
those
sure.
ones needed to be bilingual. And then if some of them were going to be bilingual, then they all might as well be bilingual. But if you think of the road traffic in the summertime, that's a pretty bilingual place down in the basin. So, but all that to say, maybe if we could get QR codes on this iteration and just have the link to it so that we could expand it in the future, or link something to the QR code. You know what I mean? If it's already there, then we can build on it. Or maybe something where we could take a sticker and put it on top after. It's like, I don't know what the best way to do it is, but it's a good idea to have, you know, if they want more information or if they want more pictures, and if we've got time in the future to build little pages for each of them, then great. But I don't want to slow it down just for that, because that's a big project.
I think that's a big project. I think the sticker thing, I mean, if in a couple of years we feel driven to do a QR drive, I think that's a great idea with the sticker. You just probably walk around and drop them on there. And then once we get the thing, going. Or they could just point straight to the website that the town has on Heritage, which has got tons of stuff in it.
That's maybe we just put it to the default MHC website for now, and then we could update them or expand them as we want.
Very good, but as you say, that might stall the RFQ.
And that's fine if that's what you decide as a group. But just remember that we have 3 that don't have any toppers on them right now. And I just wanted to mention that we have been talking to tourism. Dorothy and I met with Jeff, and he's been looking at a QR code system. He hasn't solidified it yet, but something will be coming. So we can either attach it to the pedestals as they exist rather than building it in, because I'm just concerned that if technology changes and we start doing something other than a QR code, that it's on there and we don't really need it anymore. So maybe it's something we can attach afterwards.
Yeah, with the purpose of providing more information, like you say, old photographs perhaps. Yeah.
AI link on there too, John.
What's that?
Put AI link on there too.
Oh, sure. We'll get some AI involved.
Well, eventually what they're looking at doing is, right now as you walk by, sometimes you can walk by something and then you're looking at your phone and stuff starts popping up. So if you're at one pedestal, you scan the QR code or it pops up on your phone and it starts leading you to all of the other pedestals as well. So it'll have that kind of information, and all of the walking tour will be on it and so forth.
Cool. That's if you have a smartphone.
Well, yes.
I have a dumb phone. I don't plan on changing.
Okay, roundtable then is the next item on the agenda. So let's start with Jenny. Anything, Jenny?
Nothing.
Dawn?
No. Thank you.
Rob?
I'm happy to be part of the committee.
We're happy to have you.
Good, thank you.
Chris?
I forget if this has come up when our last meeting was, but we're getting the metal roofs on this building and the school next door, the standing seam, in the next few months. So
council approved that.
yes.
That was because Chris just said
There was a good business case. There was a good architectural case.
It's election year, Don.
Facebook doesn't have a very good case for it, but I don't think they've read the reports. So
Okay.
anyway, no, it was a good win for some of the stuff we've been pushing
Great.
for. So
That's good. And that makes me think, do we know about the work on Heritage House Museum? Is that,
Yeah, the porch,
is it,
where was that?
I guess that's
We gave our 2 cents, but
community services, right?
is that all that was going to be of that?
Just our input.
it's in the
that's it.
budget.
Yeah.
I think an RFP went out.
So they haven't done it yet.
I don't think they've done it. I think it's in process, but I don't. Director Clark would be the.
Right, of
We
course.
could look into that.
Klaus, do you have anything for roundtable?
Yeah, our famous Confederation Bridge. Where are we at with that?
No updates since the fall, but the veneers need to go on the concrete supports on either side. I've heard that the salvage pieces of the original bridge that are going to be installed at the entrance have been treated and recoated. So all that stuff should be ready to go in another month or two when the ground thaws and.
Weather permitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so they haven't forgot about those pieces we wanted to put in the front.
Yeah, as far as I know, they've been repainted and recoated, and they're ready to be installed. And it should be an early spring kind of opening.
Other question, the mill has been tore down. The stone, where is it?
I've heard it's at a local quarry, and I'm not sure other than that.
A local quarry, is it Tackleberry Quarry?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure which local quarry.
Because I think the last time we talked about, we were kind of concerned about it. It's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the idea
Because-
is they were to preserve that stone.
When originally that was supposed to be used in
That's
the
what I understand.
bridge. But,
Sorry?
Sorry, originally that stone was supposed to be used for the stone veneer on the concrete pedestals for the bridge or supports, but they determined it was, they didn't estimate the cost properly, so they determined the cost was prohibitive. But I think it's one of those things where it's always going to be more expensive to use it, and it's a matter of when are we going to use it, if we're going to use it. So unfortunately, missed opportunity on the new bridge to incorporate some of the stone.
I have a fear that stone's going to disappear. That's my statement for the minute, Murray.
Well, we could ask Public Works where it is, right?
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Jonathan?
Nothing for roundtable for me.
Just a couple quick updates. Staff are in discussions with the Downtown Business Association on the Heritage Conservation District and how we can promote and give information to our downtown businesses. Of course, a lot of the Downtown Business Association members are not the actual property owners, so they don't have that same skin in the game necessarily. But certainly from our end, the HCD is not something that we just approve and carry forward on. We approve, carry forward, but also work on publication, work on guides, other documentation to help people become familiar with it and sort of ease some of the concerns that may have. Maria and I have been meeting with folks who have some questions for us, and a lot of the time people leave the meeting saying, "I'm glad we talked to you. We got the notice. We didn't know what it meant. We were a little bit scared." And I think people want to hear that we're happy to work with them, and so I think some of the conversations have been quite positive. We are almost at the deadline for the spring intake for the community improvement plan. The deadline for that is the end of this month, and we ask for people to schedule their pre-consultations with Marie by the 20th, just to allow people time to complete their applications. So as the committee is aware, we've made some changes to the CIP this year, including making more funds available for heritage restoration projects, including private residential. So if you're aware of or in discussions with anyone who might be a candidate for that, we just ask you to get them in touch with myself or Marie as soon as possible to make the spring intake.
Marie?
Ditto.
That's it. All right, that's everything? Okay. Next meeting is Tuesday, April 14th. Same time, same place. And would someone move that we adjourn the meeting then, please? Klaus moves, the seconder, Dawn, all in favor of adjournment? Great, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, I'll just let Tech know.